Hello and welcome to Bro Jewel. Today we have 4 fantastic immersion mods for you. We love finding the types of mods that help you sink into the world of Skyrim, and all 4 of today's mods do just that, in their own little way. First up is Skyrim Souls. This SKSE plugin offers unpaused game menus for Skyrim, similar to the menus in Dark Souls, hence the name. With unpaused menus, the world of Skyrim almost never stops. Instead of being pulled out of the game every time you enter a menu, the world will continue to move around you. Whether you're rummaging through your inventory, reading a book, or bartering with a merchant, the world never stops. The mod affects almost every menu, but there are some exceptions. The white menu, the world map, and the skill screen are still paused, so you still have a few ways to actually pause the game. You also have further control and can toggle each menu's pause status on or off using console commands. The mod offers some great changes to gameplay. One is that you can no longer just stuff your face full of sweet rolls to instantly heal up in battle. Try to do that with an unpaused inventory and you'll swiftly meet your demise. Another great side effect is that time passes during certain activities where it didn't before, like when reading a book. If your character's head is stuck in your favourite book, time really can get away from you. You can no longer run up to a bandit chest, pick the lock, loot its contents, and be protected from the entire time by a magical pause menu. With OnPause Lockpicking, you have to make sure the coast is clear before you let your guard down to pick the lock. The mod also opens up multitasking. You can set your character to auto-run and then sort through your inventory or spells at the same time. Or you could use the touring carriages mod we featured recently and mess around in the menus during your journey. This mod is new, so it has some bugs that the author is working to fix, but by and large it works fine. This has been a highly requested mod since Skyrim's creation, so we're glad to finally have our hands on it. Another mod that works well with unpaused menus, as well as being a great mod in its own right, is Lockable Locks. This gives the player the benefit of gathering and holding onto the dozens of keys you find during a playthrough. Not only can you use them to unlock doors, but with the mod you can now also lock them. As long as your right hand is empty and you have the necessary key, you can lock almost any door just by activating it. On top of being a handy feature for role-playing, having the ability to lock doors can also be a tactical option. You can quickly lock doors on groups of enemies to divide and conquer them. Or you could lure an NPC to a certain room, lock the door and then throw away the key. Altogether, this is probably more of a niche mod, but we think some of you will like it. And for something completely different, we have Immersive Merchants. This nifty little mod lets you actually buy what's on display at all stores across Skyrim. It works just as you'd expect it to. Just go up to any item that's clearly on display at a store and you'll see its stats and value. Then you just need to click it to buy the item. You can only buy items that are clearly on display for sale, so you can't just buy absolutely everything in the building, although we'd love to see that in Bellathor's store specifically. Also, the gold you spend actually goes into the merchant's inventory, so it counts as an actual purchase. The mod also works for thieves, because sneaking and stealing the item works just fine. On top of that, the mod takes any haggling perks and even your relationship with the merchant into account. So if you're friends with the store owner, you can only still take certain items for free. There's only really a few minor bugs that stop it from being a perfect mod. You can't see the name of the item you're hovering over, and the price on display isn't always correct, especially if it's affected by perks. The mod also doesn't take any magic related price reductions, like enchantments, into account just yet. Another downside that's no real fault of the mod is that vanilla stores tend to not have a whole lot on display, especially magic stores. There's a few bits and bobs lying around, but nothing compared to what's in the merchant's inventory. So we'd love to see a patch for the mod that makes it work alongside a store overhaul, something like the Radioactive mod. So when you walk into a store, there's literally dozens of items on display, and you probably wouldn't even need to directly go up to the merchant unless you need something more unique. But altogether it works well, and you can effectively go into any store, inn or market stand and simply buy what's on display. Merchants often say something like, if you don't want anything you see, then maybe I have it stored away. Well, now that phrase finally makes sense. And finally, the last mod we have is Cobb Encumbrance. One of the most jarring aspects of Skyrim is when you suddenly hit your carry weight limit. Without directly looking at your inventory screen, you aren't given any indication on how much you're carrying. So you can be a happy sprinting Dovahkiin and then all of a sudden grab a loaf of bread and now you're forced to walk. Cobb Encumbrance fixes that with a fully customizable encumbrance system. In the mod menu, you can set up 10 stages of encumbrance, applying buffs or debuffs at each stage. You get to decide when the system kicks in and the type of debuff or buff applied. The default settings offer a scaled system, where your movement speed slowly decreases as you reach your carry weight limit. It also offers buffs to increase your speed when you're travelling light, which acts as a nice bonus for efficiently managing your inventory. This way you'll notice yourself becoming slower, so if you do pass your limit, being forced to walk isn't so jarring. Ultimately, you get to decide how much of an impact the system has. You can have the buffs and debuffs affect movement speed, stamina and stamina regeneration, although we think movement speed works best. You can also turn on its crush feature, which will slowly kill your character if you try to carry twice as much as you're able to. You can save yourself by quickly dropping some items, but it adds an interesting element of danger to encumbrance. In case it's not always obvious when you pass a threshold, the mod can also optionally display messages whenever you reach a certain stage. This is done in a way to emulate your character's thoughts, which keeps things as immersive as possible. All in all, Cobb Encumbrance isn't the first encumbrance overhaul for Skyrim, but it's lightweight, extremely customizable, and has become a must-have for us in recent playthroughs, so we can't recommend it enough. And that's the end of today's Spotlight. As always, be sure to leave endorsements on any mod you enjoy. If you're interested in more nifty immersion mods, and we've covered dozens of them in the videos on screen now. Be sure to check out g2a.com, and thanks for watching.